Hey,
Hey, welcome back.
welcome to the Right Spotlight. I'm one of your hosts, Kellen Ann,
And I am your other host, Brian Monahan.
and here we are, number 16.
Isn't it crazy? We have the
I know,
same last name or ending of our last name. You're Kellen Ann, and I'm Brian Monahan.
Han. I love it.
And
boy, boy, folks, we have a show you are not going to be disappointed with today. That's for sure.
absolutely. Who do we got today? We got so. I mean, I sent you the script, right, Kellen?
I
mean,
didn't read it.
you have where's your teleprompter today? So yeah, we have Rex Sikes here today. Super
Amazing.
excited.
Super guy.
Life
We have
on
some
your
housekeeping.
terms.
We have
His
to.
book.
We,
Oh,
we
but
have to do some
housekeeping. Go ahead. I mean,
Let's get it. I always
you have
forget
the
it.
script. You have the script.
I got his
right.
book.
All right.
If you are watching, we appreciate it. Please let us know in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. And if you have questions, like I said in every other episode, be sure to write them in there and we will get you the answers, whether they're questions for Brian, who helps authors get their books to the finish line. And if you have an idea, I want to write a book, he makes it happen. There we go. There's our
All right.
street cred.
And then, of course, there's Kellen Ann. She is a specialist with Cards at WoW. That when that book is done, she helps you get it out and get invited on the right shows and get invited to the right events and all of that with her wonderful gift boxes of your book. They're the best in the world, and they're guaranteed to get you on some shows.
They do. They really work. So
and then we got a little cred too.
Yeah.
We got our books. We're authors as well. Customer Delight 365 and Wagmore. You can't do much better than that.
What we love about our show is we get to talk to interesting new artists every week, and they dispel myths. They give great advice, and they just have they have the most wonderful stories. And our guest this week, Rex, his book is Life on Your Terms, which we're going to discuss a lot today. He's got some major street creds himself. He's an NLP trainer. He's in a law of traction authority, producer, director, actor. And I'm all about gratitude, and he has a daily inspiration and gratitude blog, which will probably sneak in a little bit of information on that. So like I said, we got this great guest, so we should probably bring him on.
All right, look who it is.
It's Rex. Yay.
Well, I want to say thank you. I mean, I couldn't be happier to spend this morning or today, let's just put it that way, with both you and Brian. I'm honored. I'm privileged. I'm humbled. And you guys are doing remarkable work, for authors and for readers and people all around the world. So that's fantastic. And there's nothing I like better than talking about transformation and living life on your terms and making things happen. So I'm here, I'm ready, and let's get on with it.
We so appreciate you. And Life on Your Terms is Rex's book, and it's a great book. It's relative. That's the word I come up with when I want to describe it. It's relative. It's information that we know a lot of it, but we just don't apply it. And the whole key with you, and we had talked about this before the show, is it's a hammer on a table. If you don't use it, it's not going to help you with anything. So I would love to start with your beginnings, your childhood. I know you were an actor, and I know our audience would love to hear a little bit about that, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Well, as like all people who have ever lived on the planet and will live on the planet, I was born.
Woo!
And I've grown up some.
That's for sure.
I'm not done, but I've grown up some, and the process of growing up means that we'll have problems. It's just part of living.
Right.
And sadly, what a lot of people do is they let their problems override their lives and their wisdom and their abilities to make changes. And they live as a victim instead of as a victor. Exactly. And I did that for many, 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 many years. And I was around 25. I write about it in the book, when I've had many. And since then, I've had numerous ones. I've lost everything. I've got it back. I've lost it again. I mean, those kinds of things go on. And but I had a crisis of magnitude when I was a young guy, and lost all of my friends, ruined my movie career at the time, lost a girl that I was madly in love with, and all sorts of stuff. and wanted to kill myself, and ultimately tried, and then found out that I wasn't even good at that.
Well, thank goodness.
Well, and that's how I felt about it, and through all of the different times that I could have left this planet, and there have been numerous. I mean, numerous. I've had guns put in my head more than half a dozen times, one thing after the other. And I go, as long as I'm here, it must mean that I'm supposed to be here. I'm not saying anyone's saying that. I don't go, God talks to me and tells me here's the message. No, I'm just saying that if I've managed to avoid every bus and every auto and every possible accident that could have taken me out, then you and I and all of those who are sitting here today are meant to be here today.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we'll be here tomorrow and the next days, but I decided at that time when I had this crisis that I didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to do things. I was like stuck and afraid and scared. I abused drugs and alcohol. It started with an overdose prescription that was the wrong prescription by a doctor who gave me a fatal combination of pills.
Oh, geez.
And so the moment I took them, life almost ended, except it didn't. And the medical community considered me this walking miracle. They're like, we don't know how you're alive. And I go, well, I didn't at the time either. But it woke me up that whatever I had been doing that had worked somewhat, I'd still, something is always working. The point that I guess I really want to make about this is, if you stub your toe, all of your attention goes to the toe and you hurt, you go, damn it, why did, I hate. But everything else is working. The rest of your body is still doing what it's doing. You're breathing, you're respiring, you're digesting your food, you're healing something else. It's where you put your attention, and where I had my attention at the time was on all the things that went wrong and all the problems and all the stuff that I had lost. And I had to stop. And I had, since I was about 6 years old, I'd been reading Napoleon Hill and a lot of other books, sitting on my mom's lap. And then I started reading, when 10 or 11, when I could read on my own. I guess you can read on your own earlier than that, but I usually just say 10 or 11. But I started reading on my own, but I didn't apply the stuff. I knew it, and I would do it for a little bit and then give it up, and then do it for a little bit and then give it up. And, and what I did at 25 years ago, I have to make this an everyday practice. I have to claim my life back. Hi, there's Sandra Horton. She is an incredible thought leader and author in her own right, and a marvelous person who I think and thank you. I'm glad you're here, Sandra. That's wonderful. Anyway, the point being is you have to claim your life back. You have to live life on your own terms, and you do have to create the life that you want, because it's not going to be created for you or handed to you in any way.
Wow, Rex. And thanks for sharing that story. I didn't know, I had no clue about the entirety of your journey there. That's amazing. I
will only add, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Brian, is, there are people who have more story than I do, and worse things happen to lots of people. So I don't mean to make it sound like anything.
Oh, no.
It's just, that was my journey.
No, I think, that's part of the reason why we're here today, is that you've taken what you've had and you didn't let it become more of a story either. I think that's part of your journey, as you've gone through and said, hey, these things aren't working for me. And now you're teaching them to other people, which I think is even more amazing, is that you didn't stop with you. You said, I'm going to take it to other people.
Well, you know how you said, I'm going to hit you hard right from the beginning. Do you know how you said the thing is to keep it going? Like your toe hurts, but the rest of you keeps working and you keep it going. I know that personally, and I think a lot of other people, we have no problem starting it up, like we're doing the things that we need to do, but how do you keep it going?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I'll answer it this way, but before I do, there was, well, no, I'll just answer your question and then I'll come back. But I talk about it in my book. Oh, there's Tony Petrosa. What a marvelous guy. He's got some incredible stuff, and you got to check into what Tony's doing too. And I won't do this for everybody.
Hey, we're here to acknowledge them all. Please jump in.
When you decide that you're going to do something, the reason why most people don't do what they want to do is because they don't want to do what they think they have to do. If you want to do something, you will do it. If you go, I want to go to that party, you'll do everything to get to that party. If you want a new TV set, you'll do whatever you have to do to buy that TV set. You won't make excuses. You go, I got to have it. I'm going to do it. I'm saving money for it. I'm doing these things. So what happens is that we've grown up, kind of conditioned that you ought to do this and you should do that, and it makes it difficult for people because they've been chided, they've been corrected, they've been made wrong for doing things. They try stuff and then it doesn't go the way that the teacher or somebody expects it to, so they get yelled at. And so people don't dive into things, just go with full abandon. Like when you were a kid, you run and do things and your parents go, wait, stop, that's a road, but you were just this free spirit. You wanted things. You chased butterflies and sat for hours looking at grasshoppers or something. I mean, because you were captivated and fascinated by it. And what happens with people, and I say that old age is simply the weeding out of experiences. You go, I've been there, I've done that, I've been there, I've done that, I've been there, I've done it, I've been there, until you're sitting on a bench in the backyard going, get that ball out of my yard. Somehow the yard is more important than the children, and you forgot what it was like to be one. And so this is why I think the Bible verse, unless you become like little children, you're not going to see the kingdom of heaven, whether that's inside you or somewhere else. But the point is, you have to recapture that joy of being alive. And I went through it too. I mean, even after my crisis, I'd go, okay, I've got to make these affirmations. I got to do these things. Got to do these things. And I would do them, and then I kind of would, backslide, and I would do them because I had to do them. Not because I wanted to do them. Like how incredible would it be if I could do these things and change my life, and make it an exciting journey as opposed to something that I have to do. Those people who go to the gym and work out because it's rewarding are the ones who keep with it. Those who go, I'm going to do this and I hate going to the gym, are the ones who are going to abandon it. So in my book, I talk about Muhammad Ali. See, people think motivation is going to come from outside. We have this silly term, which is motivational speaker. Motivation doesn't come from a speaker. It doesn't come from outside. They can inspire you, but the motivation, if they say something that inspires you, it's what happens within you, the decision that you make based on something that someone said or something that you saw or something that you did. But it's an inner job, not an outer job. So don't sit and wait to be motivated. Muhammad Ali said, and this is so important, he said, I hated to train. I never wanted to train. I didn't want to go out on a cold day. I didn't want to go out on a morning. I didn't want to train. But I knew that if I wanted to be the world champion boxer that he ultimately became, I had to train. And because his reason, because his purpose, because his mission, because he said, I am the greatest before he ever was the greatest, is he went out and trained. It wasn't that he had to so much as that he wanted to be the number one champion. If you want to be the top skier in the world, you ski. If you want to be the top chef in the world, you cook. If you want to be the top, whatever, you do it because it's your passion. It's the desire that drives you. And this is what people need to capture. This is what people need to go. As Napoleon Hill said, a small fire burns a little bit, but a big fire burns a lot. And people need to create that fire inside themselves and use that. Lastly, we're energy. And people will go, I don't have enough energy. No, you got plenty of energy. You're just not using it right. For whatever reason, medicine will tell you this, and psychologists will tell you that, and spiritual people will tell you this, and somebody will tell you. Point is, all there is in this universe is energy. And it expresses itself in what we call matter, and you and I. You've got more than enough energy to do anything you want and to make your life whatever it is that you want. You just haven't directed it yet. And you'll say, well, but you don't understand. I have this condition. Yes, maybe that's true. But as long as you blame everything on that condition, there's a guy, and I can never say his name, with no arms and no legs. And he's an inspirational speaker. He's spoken to, I feel like, 1 billion people. And he goes, people always ask me, how can you be happy without any arms and legs? And he said, I always ask them, how can you not be happy with arms and legs?
Right.
So it's our direction. It's what we do with something that makes a difference. And so if you want to keep going, create enough powerful reasons why and what you want, and then make it bite-sized steps, and then do little things that you can do so that you constantly win. So you never make yourself wrong, but every time you win, because winners win, Successful people succeed, losers lose, failures fail. So make yourself winning every time you do something. So if you win a little bit each day, guess what you're doing all along? You're winning all along.
Love it, Rex.
Only in this for 15 minutes, and I've already got like a page full of our cat recap already.
Yeah, I know. Well, Rex, I don't know if you know, but we don't pay you for this. Okay. Yes. This is our free therapy session. That's how Kellen and I pay for our therapy. So we just invite people on our show and we roll with it. Okay.
So we appreciate you.
Thanks, Rex. We're on it.
Oh gosh. So I cut you. I cut somebody off. I'm sorry. So
no, go for it, Kellen. You got your questions.
I know. Well, I just want to talk just about the book a little bit, and then I want to talk about the process. Okay. So like what I told you before, relevant is the word that came, relative came to my mind. I like some certain things that you brought back, like the live like a champion. If you're going to be a champion, you have to live like a champion. I love the part where I got all these little sticky tabs. Hold on. The past has brought you to now. And actually, I was going to ask you about that, but you've kind of explained that very eloquently in your, coming. You lost it, you've got it back. You've lost it, you got it back. So I don't need to go there. Actually, you've covered a lot of what I was going to ask you.
Well, I am a mind reader.
Yes. When you know me, you know me. And here's the other thing that I was going to bring up, that you never met a strong person with an easy past. And you clearly explained that. And look where you are now. You're amazing and talented and successful. Stop comparing and wondering. Isn't that totally appropriate now for the world of social media and TikTok and people looking at people's lives through those rose-colored social media glasses? Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I do a lot of corporate training and a lot of training all around the globe. People hire me to come in and speak or to train or to coach, and they have for over 40 years. And I've been blessed that way. And I've also been blessed to go to lots of people who have nothing. And then I've gone to the other side of people who are millionaires and billionaires and spent time in their homes and in their businesses and hanging out with them. And I'll tell you some of the things that I've learned. There are people who have nothing that are unhappy, but there are lots of people who have plenty and they're totally miserable. Mm-hmm. They're having things seems like what everybody wants, but that's the illusion. That's the big lie. That's the myth that society perpetuates. If you work really hard, you can have these things and then you'll be successful or you'll be famous or you'll be somebody. And it seems to work that way, but it doesn't. It's the other way around. Mm-hmm. If you're happy inside, and so happy that no matter what happens, it can't take your happiness, or it can't take your confidence, it can't take your security, it can't take your certainty, it can't take your authenticity, it can't take who you are from you, then you'll do the right things to get the things that you want, but you won't be attached to those things. So whether you have them or not doesn't really matter. What Napoleon Hill said was, of the 520 people that he modeled, most of them ended up in prison, jail, broke, insane, alcoholics, or committed suicide, and their families, their children, often suffered the same kind of fate. And the reason for that was because they wanted money so badly that they didn't seek peace or love or relationships or care or kindness or compassion or generosity, so that their lives were empty. So I sit in millionaires' homes and they go, look what I've accomplished. Look at all I've done. Look at the stuff that I can do. And I'm miserable. Why is that? I have all this stuff. And it's because the stuff, people work and work and work. It's like anything. How long does it take for something to get old?
Right.
You get a TV, a car, you get a new pair of shoes. How long does it? I can't wear new clothes. The second I get a new pair of shoes, they're scuffed within 15 minutes. If I wear white, which I love, I have stains all over it for some reason. And I can do that sitting alone in a pristine room. I have no idea how that happens. But what I'm saying is things get old fast. So that what people need to understand is it's not what you have and it's not what you do. It's who you are that determines what you do, that gets you what you have, and how you enjoy what you have or whether you don't. So what I always tell people, and this is truly one of the most important things I could ever leave with anybody, you may or may not get to the end of the journey that you desire to get to, your destination, whatever that may be. Like I may say, I want to take a boat across Lake Michigan to Minnesota, or not Minnesota, to Michigan, from Wisconsin to Michigan. and I want to get to this particular city. Now, I may not make it. The boat could run out of gas. I could not start the mission. I could drown along the way or something. Might not make it, right? But I know where I want to go, so I have that plan. Now, the key is however I'm getting there is to enjoy the journey for as long as I have the journey, because I have nothing but the journey. I have nothing but this moment, because this moment becomes the next moment, becomes the next moment. So this moment is your future. How you spend it now determines how you will live it later. And the problem with most people is I've been in the acting business since I was a kid, professional Screen Actor Guild member since I was 18. These people get famous and they get all the celebrity and they go, I don't want it. And they end up abusing drugs or alcohol, or they don't know what to do. Or now they're surrounded by an entourage of people who have to protect them from their stalkers. And they go, I didn't want that. So enjoy what you can while you have it and make the most of it and have fun and delight and love and give and share. Because those people who have nothing, like the guy who's no arms and legs, they don't let the world change their attitude. Their attitude comes from within. They're happy with or without anything. And if all the rest of us could learn how to do that, and you can, then you too can have the kind of life that no matter what comes along, you'll be able to navigate it with greater ease. You'll get through it. You may not seem like it at first, but you'll get through it because you know that you can and that you've succeeded. And that I hate the word survivor. I'm a thriver, not a survivor. And everything I've gotten through has contributed to where I am today. And all the hardship and all the pain and whatever it is has made me who I am. So it's all part of the game. It's all part of the process. But I when I was younger, I hated that. Now I understand it. And I go, okay, this is what's going on right now. There's something that I need to know, and I'm going to change and grow with it. So,
wait, what word did you say? You said you didn't like survivor, but you are.
I don't like the word survivor because it implies like Jesus.
Okay, so what word did you replace it with?
Thriver.
Thriver. Okay.
Thriver. Yeah,
I didn't get that. I love that.
I'm a thriver and a driver.
I'm a driver. I drive everywhere.
Kellen's on the road at all times.
I know. I'm going to go home and stay there for a while, though, after this trip. Okay. Back to, you talked about being happy and healthy within ourselves to make, to create peace and happiness. Why is it that why do you think that people put themselves last and refuse to either do the work or, create that inner happiness so that they can, move and be succceusl?
Well, you're not brought up that way. You're just not brought up to be, hey, find your authentic self, be authentic, be true to yourself, follow your dreams, and if there's troubles, you'll get through them because here's why, and they give them all the reasons. You go to school, you're this alive, vibrant child, you're stuck in a desk, you're told not to move, not to fidget, open your books, pay attention, memorize this stuff, and if you don't do it right, you get reprimanded. You get timeouts, you get stuck in the dunce room, whatever it was, you get the red marks on the thing. You're told by everyone around you, your parents, everyone, get a job, work really hard, save your money for a rainy day. And then what happened, we found out that there are plenty of rainy days and no money because they took all the retirements away. The world changed.
Right. People
are like, now what? And when you look at the disparity of wealth where, Jeff Bezos makes $1 million an hour and somebody else makes $7.25 an hour or whatever the minimum wage is, you just, people are conditioned to not, go, I can do anything, they're conditioned out of it more than anything. And the reason for that is because society wants you to follow the rules and they don't want you to, rock the boat. They want you to, think about the velvet rope, whether it's to a movie theater or in TSA, you're like cattle going through this line to get somewhere. They've conditioned us to just follow as best we can. Now, there's nothing wrong with that on the one hand. The Bible says, well, the shepherd would look out for his flock, that kind of thing. And if that were true or more true, we would all be better off. So, what we want to do is, I think we have a responsibility, and anybody who gets a little bit ahead, and even if you don't, to help other people, to inspire other people, to help uplift other people, be compassionate, be caring, be genuine, be generous, be peaceful, be accepting, be including, stop the hate and start loving more so that everybody has an opportunity to live well, whether they get as much money as Bezos or not, but we should all be better off. And every country on the planet is responsible for their people, but they don't act that way. And I'm very particular about this. We don't elect leaders. Nowhere in that I ever see it says anything about electing leaders. We elect representatives. And they should represent us, but they don't. And the media should, and by media, I don't mean it's political. I mean, the media, it's everything. It's social media, it's the messages, it's the bumper stickers, it's the designer brands that you're wearing on your chest or on your butt, that the messages are just not, other than Nike, do it, you can be it, you can have it, that kind of thing. And so we're not conditioned for it. And that may be, if you want to believe in some kind of divine providence or something, that may be the plan. The Hindus believe that you're God and you've given yourself amnesia, sent yourself to the planet Earth through incarnation, in order to discover finally again that you are God. That is this. It's called Leela. It's the play of illusion of Maya. It's the unless you can discover yourself again, what fun is it? So God, getting bored, said, let's have some fun. So let's act like it, whether that's true or not, or, that's just one of many descriptions, but, I'd rather believe something that works, even if it's not necessarily the truth, but something, some mindset that I can follow and go, okay, so I'll pretend that I'm God. It doesn't mean that you're not. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to, have an elephant appear in my driveway. It just means that I live as if I am more powerful than I have thought I have traditionally in my life. And I live saying I am a creator and I'm a tractor and I can make things happen. And that gives people the impetus and the power and the wherewithal to begin to actually do that. If you have a mound of clay, when we talk about books and everything, a mound of clay does nothing. It just sits there. It requires a sculptor to sculpt it and fashion it into something, and then to put it in the kiln and heat it up and then present it and market it to the world for that coffee cup or the vase or whatever it is to come. You're creators. We're all creators. So create the life that you want.
Okay.
Powerful stuff, Rex.
Yeah. I'm at a blank. I just I had an idea and it went away. So let's talk about book stuff. Let's talk about author stuff.
Okay.
Brian, do you want to?
Yeah.
Is on fire. Yes, he is.
Well, absolutely. Though I'm going to go back on your website. I love you list six mindsets you're going to get when you read your book, or 6 outcomes on there.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. I mean, but you only list on 6 on your website. So
there's way more.
Wait. Let me see. You need to add number 7 that says there's a gazillion more.
Good point. A gazillion more. Yeah.
All right. So I love the first one. Well, I don't know. I actually want you to tell me more about. There's no such thing as self-sabotage. I thought that was interesting. I've always heard the term self-sabotage.
Well, again, psychology and scientists and medicine and politicians and religious leaders and parents come up with all sorts of things that may or may not be true. Like I just did, a moment ago. There's a myth, that we can sabotage ourselves. And it's comes through us primarily through psychology. Like Freud, there's no ego. There's no id. There's no super ego. Those are just descriptions of processes that we laying our hand on. And then we use them as if they are like, my ego makes me do these things. The devil made me do it. Was that Flip Wilson or somebody from years ago? The devil made me do it. It's a way of putting blame on something that you can't account for. So I'm going to make an outrageous claim here. Your subconscious mind can't sabotage you. It's in my book. I think it's chapter 3 too, as well, but chapter 3. But you can't sabotage yourself because your brain can only do what the brain learns to do. So the brain is a series of processes, electrochemical firings that happen that release hormones and neurotransmitters and things like that. It's not a person inside your head. You think it is because you have this auditory tract, this self-talk, this stuff that we do it's called thoughts. So people tend to think there's a person inside them, and then they do these parts things, like they have parts parties, like a part of me does this and a part of me does that, and this part wants that and this part wants that, and it's in conflict and they're going to fight, And so the story, there's 2 wolves inside you. Which one's going to win? It's the one you feed. So there's all this stuff about that, but the key is that your brain can only work in a direction. Your brain can only do what it's learned to do, and it doesn't do anything it didn't learn to do. So it's going to continue to do that because your brain prime directive is to keep you alive and to have you thrive so that you reproduce and continue perpetuate the species. So it keeps you going in a particular direction, and then you consciously go, I don't want to do that. Like you smoke, you learn to smoke. Your brain learned to smoke. It smokes, it smokes, it smokes. It doesn't care whether you smoke or not. It doesn't make it good or bad or right or wrong. It just does it because you learned to have that habit. So it's going to keep doing the habit. And then you say, wait, I want to stop smoking. And then you go, I can't stop smoking. My brain keeps sabotaging me. My brain won't let me quit. I can't quit. I'm addicted. And you have all this excuse. And it really, that's all it is. It's an excuse. It's a reason to blame. Michael Gazzagna, who did a whole lot of stuff with split brain, where they cut through the corpus callosum and they split the hemispheres. They did it primarily with people who had a non-controllable epilepsy, in order to try and said he believes that, and he said there's no physical place for it, but there's this pocket in the brain or this place in the brain that's just a reason center, and the reason has nothing to do with reality. We just generate reason after. It's like, why did you take the cookies? Well, Johnny made me take the cookies, or there was a monster in the closet. Whatever. We've learned to do this since we're kids. So we blame ourselves for not doing what we want instead of realizing that it's not the subconscious that's screwing you. Your brain's not. It's you screwing it. You're insulting yourself. You're insulting it. You're saying, I can't do it because it's doing this. And it's all in the conscious mind. The conscious mind is what we use to run through the world. It's our self-talk. It's the stuff that we're aware of, and it's only aware of so much, but it's usually very aware of the criticism and the stuff that's, running through, the self-talk. And so that's, you read the chapter. It's like there's more to it, but the point is you don't sabotage yourself. You really don't. It's serving a purpose to keep you alive, even if you don't like the purpose. So what do you have to do? You have to recondition it. You have to retrain it. You have to retrain it to not smoke. But you can't say don't smoke because all that's left in that is smoke. I'm not saying that the word is important. It's the fact that if you don't replace it with something else, it'll keep doing what it did. And as an example, if you've ever, and nowadays it's hard, the example doesn't work so much because we have phones and nobody knows their phone numbers. So let's say you move from one house to another house or one apartment to another apartment. Oftentimes what happens is once you move, you'll be driving down the road and you find out that you drove to the old house.
Yeah.
I don't want to go there. I want to go to the new house. Well, after a while, you end up driving to the new house. You never forget where the old house is, but you've trained yourself that I'm not going to the old house, I'm going to the new house. And you start going to the new house because that's the new habit. And that's how the brain works.
Hey, I think you're talking about a lot of different things, but number 4 on your list is life shouldn't be about solving problems.
Right.
So how do you make that shift from identifying you don't want to smoke, but what's the secret there?
You're such a rebel.
Yeah.
Well, my tagline in my gratitude blog and everything else is celebrate everything. If you consider something a problem, it's a problem. If you consider something as a blessing, it's a blessing. There is the art of reframing. You can rename something. You can decide what it's going to be or what you're going to call it and live from that. That can have an effect. Pollyanna, in my mind, is a hero. Everybody hates her. They go, oh, stop being so Pollyannish or rosy. No, what she did was she looked for the good in things and validated the good and emphasize the good. In fact, there's a song, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. So stop focusing on problems is the first one and start focusing on what you want to do instead. Children, when you look at babies, babies when they're first born have needs that they can't meet by themselves, right? They soil themselves, they can't eat, they can't move over, until they learn how to roll over and sit up and become mobile, they can't do anything. And then, even then it takes a long time for them to be able to self-care. So we meet their need. But you'll see a child who's like, ah! And you go cookie, and it goes, ooh. It just instantly changes. It's like, wow, it doesn't hang on to it until we're trained to hang on to it, until you go, oh, I bet you feel bad. That's a boo-boo. Oh, how terrible. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. And we go through that, and we've all done it. I'm a parent. I mean, so the key, the thing is that we train people to have problems, and then to think that the problems are what life is all about, is solving problems. It's before there were humans on the planet, there were earthquakes and lightning strikes and fires and tornadoes and floods, and animals died and dinosaurs disappeared and everything. Nobody called it good or bad. Nobody called it a problem. Once human consciousness came on the planet, they said, "Oh, my teepee got torn up. That's bad. That's a problem. Now I got to build another one." Or my spear got broken. Now I got to build another one. Damn it! So we create problems, but things just are.
Mm-hmm.
So how you look at it really matters. So if you can celebrate all of it, suddenly you don't have problems. We also understand that kids spend more time learning as a child in play, with enthusiasm and eagerness and delight and running and playing and all this kind of stuff, than they do in the classroom. In the classroom, they're conditioned to sit and to learn and to feel bad about not knowing enough, so that they make the grades and get through the grades and then get a job and then supply the, whoever said we needed a job? I mean, before humans came along, the earth just was, and then suddenly we carved it up and said, well, if you want to live here, you have to pay for it.
Right. Because
I own it. Who's Now, it may be very difficult to undo that, because that's where we are today. So you have to learn how to live in spite of that. In other words, don't let that be the problem that holds you back. Get past that and live a celebratory, gratitude-filled life. And if you spend more time being thankful, like the guy who has no arms and legs says, I'm happy regardless of what I have or don't have.
Right.
And when you do that, then life categorically, qualitatively changes for you, because you change yourself. You start using that inner energy and you move from within to without. The outside starts to conform to what the inner is, because it is already. So if you think things suck, and they do, it's because you think things suck. And whatever happens in addition, you will put through that suck filter. But if you think, hey, you know what, this is all part of a wonderful game. I mean, and that's the other thing, in basketball or football, you have problems, but it's part of a game. It's a different, if you think game of life, that's a whole different thing than going, let's take it seriously.
Right.
Laugh your way through life and everything transforms.
Amen.
Amen. We'll take it.
My philosophy.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the process of being an author, Rex.
Yeah.
Was there a particular thing that happened that said, hey, I'm going to write this book? How did you get there? What was the process for you?
Well, as a kid, I loved to write, but I wanted to write, I wanted to write fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote screenplays in Hollywood and things like that. And that's a completely different beast. But as I started seminars in the 70s, doing seminars and workshops in meditation and law of attraction and neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis and all these different things, I didn't want a book, because people would come into workshops a book exposes your mind to something that you may or may not otherwise be exposed to. And so I would have articles or things that were printed, and people would come into my workshops from around the world, and you could see that they would sit there. And then when I told the story that they were familiar with, they went, I knew that story.
Yep.
You had lunchtime. They go, I read that story in such and such and such and such, years ago. And it's like, that was a hit. It was nice for them. But what I wanted to prevent, so I didn't put out books for a long time. My office kept going, put out books. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I've written many of them that I didn't publish, but I didn't want to put them out because I wanted people to have an experience, not a vicarious experience. So, and I've always said this, riding a bike is categorically different than reading about riding a bike.
Right.
And if you read about riding a bike, it might whet your appetite to actually go ride a bike, but you still have no experience of it. When is reading a book about biking valuable? After you've ridden. So go ride and then read a book about how to improve your riding, and it makes perfect sense because you have the experience. And the brain, when they do studies on the brain, that the different places light up differently when you're doing something versus reading or thinking about it. So I was opposed to putting out books for a long, long time. my office finally convinced me to put out audio programs. So I put out the Ultimate NLP Home Study Program and tons of tapes, trainers training, presentation skills, master classes, and all this stuff with audio that came with manuals, which would have descriptions in it and everything else. But I wanted people to be able to have more of an experience of what it was like through video and through audio than to just, read a book. Well, so ultimately I decided I do want to put out books. I think, because not everybody will get an audio program. Not everybody, watch a video. Some people want to read books. Not everybody reads a book that buys a book, but I did. So in 2009 or something, or even before that, I started this daily attitude and daily inspiration and gratitude, I think on Facebook, where I was just posting memes and quotes and stuff like that. And ultimately I started writing, paragraphs or whatever. And it was daily. And I've now written at least 10 solid years of a blog every single day without missing one.
Oh, wow.
And the purpose was I wanted to develop my voice. I wanted to develop the consistency and the dedication to commit to doing something and to have the process and learn how to edit. Because the worst thing I could ever do the hardest thing I ever had to do was try and edit my material. So, but by doing a blog and then saying, because some are long and some are short, but it was always it couldn't be the thing that I find always fascinating is if you said, the American flag has red, white, and blue in it. Let's talk about red. And that's your thesis, or your point of that particular article. Someone will say, yes, but there's blue and white in it. What about the blue and the white? What about when it's, and you go, but this is a selection that I'm focusing on. So a blog is a selection. You can't answer every possible exception in it. And yet, so if I make a statement, people say, well, yes, but what about that? I go, just follow the train of thought. So there's a couple of points in that. One is it's helping the reader of my blog to understand that every day there's going to be something, but it's not complete in and of itself. And that's how life is. It's not complete in itself. We see what we see, and then we don't notice what we don't notice, and things are gone. But it also taught me how to fashion things and write things so that I could write my book. So when it came to the book, it was really just like grabbing my blog and going, how do I turn this into a book? Now I've got 3,500 days of blogs. I've got content that I can turn into books for decades.
Yeah. Just what you shared there, I probably have like 20 comments for authors. That's like, brilliance in what you've done, most people think, hey, I want to write a book, and they start out to write a book. It's like, well, have you even tried writing a blog yet? Start there. Like you said, get started somewhere. Can you write even a paragraph yet? So
well, you're at the other end of the spectrum. They've written a blog and they don't realize they have a book.
Right. Well, but what it taught me too was that and Jerry Seinfeld came up with this concept of don't break the chain. But before I don't mean to make it sound like I'm gonna say it, but before I heard of Seinfeld saying don't break the chain, I'd already wedded myself to that concept. I was doing a daily blog, and I'm like, I don't want to miss a day. If it's daily, it should be daily.
Right.
Now, after 10, it's been like 14 or 15 years, but 10 solid years of it, I'm going, maybe I should go to a weekly or monthly. I've written but I don't want to miss. So every day, if I'm traveling, I spend time in the desert and there's no stuff. I write 8, 10, 15 blogs in advance. So I sit down and over a day or 2, 3, or whatever it takes, I write all these blogs and then schedule them. But I have never missed a single day.
I'm mad at you now, Rex. I'm mad because I've been posting to LinkedIn for 715 days in a row, and I committed to 730, which is 2 years. And for the same reasons you committed, I wanted to learn my writing voice.
Yeah. And
I keep asking myself, do I want to keep going every day afterwards? Yep. And I'm afraid to break the chain. And now you told me why I have to keep going. So
well, that is a beautiful thing. And it's because I feel a responsibility also to my readers, like I would to my children, so And there have been times when the day goes on and suddenly I'm like, okay, it's like midnight, 1 o'clock. Did my blog come out? And it's like, no, oh God, I gotta sit down and write it. And I sit down and write it and then publish it then. I think today's blog, I forgot to schedule it, because it usually comes out after midnight, my time. And I noticed that around 4 or 5 o'clock that it wasn't out, so I published it then. But again, I've never missed a day. I can't help if the platform doesn't do it or schedule it right. But I'm proud of myself. But
that's wonderful.
Yeah, but it really helped shape me, and it really helped me with. I'm writing. I before this published book, I've published some other things. I pulled them off. I've got How to Get People to Do What You Want. I've got another book on mind reading. Mind reading is both the art of reading minds like a psychic would, kind of stuff, but it's also one of the number one problems in the world where I go, oh, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking X, and you blame somebody else. You claim to know their inner state based on their outer appearance. So it's a huge communication issue. I've got the Ultimate NLP Home Study course and other things that I've published. I've got some other things. Not all of them are available right now, but I've also got about 10 books that I'm 2 of them I'm currently working on right now, and others in the background because I get an idea and I start it, and then I try and finish the one that I'm currently working on. But it's cool. I have a Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich companion coming out. I've got one on magic of manifesting and powerful manifester. So I've got a lot of good stuff coming down the road. Hi, Bill.
You know what I love about Rex is we don't have to ask a question because I'm like, it's like, oh, check, answer, check, answer.
Yeah, I mean, you've covered our questions and given us like 50 more. Yes. So, I mean, we should have scheduled this for like 7 hours.
We can.
Or we definitely will have him back. That's for sure, right?
Well, but you guys are asking great questions, and no, you are, and I'm so happy to be here.
There's Dr. Janicek, right?
Hi, Bill.
So,
well, first off, I also want to just toss out a big thank you to the, your fans that have showed up here in droves. Thank you for joining us here today on the Right Spotlight and being great participants. We love your energy, and that's Rex attracting it. That's he puts it out there and it comes back. So I love it.
Well, it's like. I'm very. I don't want to make anybody wrong, but it's almost impossible not to. But the thing is I don't like labels. People would come into my workshops. They go, "Oh, you're a trainer. You're this. You're that." And I go, I wear many hats. I'm a father. I'm a parent. Or I'm a husband. I'm a parent. I'm a divorced dad. Those kind of things. So we have all these labels. I never use the words like introvert or extrovert or any of that stuff because I don't want to limit myself to some concept.
Right.
And I write about a guy in my book, and I didn't hear from him for many years. In the last year or 2, 3, I guess, we reconnected. This guy wanted to be a public speaker, and he kind of talked like this, and I was going to do this, and he couldn't move his arms more than that. So every gesture he made was like this, and he came into my workshop on designing yourself and everything, and said, I want to be a speaker, and I said, well, then do that. And he'd go, and I go, no, I mean like this. And he goes, and I go, that. And he goes, so, and we did this. It was part of a demonstration in front of the room. And just imagine stretching, imagine doing stuff, imagine being big, live large, because you want when you talk, you don't want to say it was a big thing. You want to say it was a big thing,
right?
A tiny problem. Words matter, and how you say them matters, right? So
physicality.
It's using your energy, it's being expressive, and so you should live large as you can. And then if you walk into some place where it's supposed to be really quiet, you tone your energy down. Charisma is contained energy. It's not frenetic. You're not like, that's not charisma. Charisma is having energy inside that you release from, right? Mm-hmm. So this guy, we do this thing. I said, okay, thank you very much. Go sit down. He goes home to the guy. he's a friend of, but he's staying with the guy who put the seminar on, the guy that brought me in to do the training. And he goes, Rex tried to change me and it didn't work. And Larry, the guy who put on the seminar, goes, he tells me up and goes, what did you do? I said, what do you mean? He goes, came in and he was like this. And so sometimes people don't get it till they get it. Mm-hmm. But he got it. This guy's a speaker now. I mean, he went out and started speaking. I mean, because I do a 5-day speaker presentation thing where they learn how to do comedy and they learn how to speak and all. And so, but the point is, live large. Don't confine yourself to being, compressed as a human, whether that's your personal energy, whether that's a label, I'm a survivor of this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, well, imagine walking around on the earth today carrying every piece of clothing you've ever worn in your life. All of the shoes, all of the sweaters, all of the diapers, all of the hats, all of the everything. You wouldn't be able to move. And yet that's how people emotionally, mentally, spiritually carry themselves around. They carry that past with them. They go, I've never made money, so I'll never make money because I'm no good at making money, or whatever it might be. They have all the reasons why they can't do things. And I say, find the reasons why you can, and then live large, act like you could do it, because then when you could do it, then you might be able to do it. If you think you can, if you think it's possible, then you might. And if you might, then it's possible that you will. So you inch your way into it, but let yourself live fully and give yourself every reason and every permission to do so. Just don't, rain on somebody else's parade. Like I said, if you walk into a temple, you don't need to be going, oh!
No,
unless that's what's going on in the temple.
No, I'm imagining as you talk about this, like, I need to do this because you're already changing me because I'm probably this guy too. So thanks, Rex.
No, but I mean, if the problem with a lot of people is and they talk about sitting being the new smoking, it's not just that you don't move, like you don't walk. Yeah. It's that you don't express. People, you don't move. I mean, I'm trying to do it for the camera, but the point is, to go, this is fantastic, to move, to be excited, to live. If all you do is go through life and go, yeah. How much joy do you have? So express your joys, express your gratitudes, be thrilled. That, little kids, I write about it in some article. My nephew watched like Lion King like 100 times every day. He just watch it, watch it, whether you think that's good or bad, right? But every day he was just as excited as the day before. Like these people who don't know the movie ends the same way. They just go, oh my God. But every day he's like, whoa. You give this kid a cookie, he'd go, cookie. Ah. Why not live that way? And you can put it on the inside. So if somebody says, hey, I got a new opportunity for you, go, thank you. As opposed to going, you don't want to scare them. But the point is you have that energy to express. You're like, thank you. That's awesome. I mean, let your face, that's the old saying of the woman who's in the workshop and the guy says, are you happy? She goes, oh, I'm so happy. He goes, well, then tell your face. And I'm going to tell you something really important for speakers. When people listen to speakers, they usually do this. They look like they did when they were in grade school, or like, they don't look like, wow, this is so cool. So people walk out in front of a crowd and they see all these people staring at them like, and they go, oh my God, this is unfriendly. No, they're just trying to figure things out. They're trying to get your points and they're working on it while you're talking it. And some are going, yeah, because they get it. And others are like, I don't get this. That's just what people do. If you look at them and you use that as a basis of whether they're friendly or not, you'll never speak.
Right.
Yeah, you have to not believe the faces you're getting back when you're presenting to them.
But you also have to not believe your own excuses either, or your own reasons, or your own blames, or the ones coming from other people. You don't have to go, well, that's bullshit. Excuse my language. You don't have to call it to them, thank yous. But you don't have to call it to their face. But you don't have to accept it.
No, I also, you brought up one of my things. I'm in the live event industry, and I always say the audience, you're part of the event, like you should be giving back to the presenter and giving them, energizing them so that they're not just up there winging it at all of your sourpusses. So it's a two-way street. So
in some of my events back 30 years ago, I would walk out, they'd introduce me and I'd lie down on the floor. And I go, okay, so today we're going to be talking about charisma and enthusiasm, and it'll blow you away, And they were like,
Yeah.
and I go, and you know what? I'm going to rely on you to give me some energy, because otherwise I'm going to just do it the rest of the day. But if you get involved and you get enthused, then I can begin to, And if they did, I would go, okay, and then if I'd be up and go, great, now see, because I'm gonna tell something I do in all my programs. You guys can do this too, but I mean,
now do we have to pay for this, Rex? Before you say it.
I think we're above our
Are you going to send us
thousands of dollars? Hundreds
okay.
of thousands.
All right. Don't send. I mean, because we can't afford it.
No,
oh,
but,
we can. We can. I got to change my words. Okay.
But do this. However you are right now, sit like you've got 2 times more energy. Are you able to do it? Okay, now sit like you have 5 times more energy.
I got to get out of my seat.
Yeah, there you go. Now, do you feel it? Do you notice it?
Yes.
People at home can do the same thing. The point is that if you do it, you actually have it. Mm-hmm. But people don't do that to themselves. They just go, But if you then said, well, what if I had 2 times more energy? You would be a little bit. If you had 5 times, what about 10 times more energy? Now, if I said, as a speaker, if I said, sit as if you had 10 times more energy, doesn't really work that well. Mm-hmm. So I have to say, sit as though you have 10 times more energy. I'm not motivating anybody, but I'm giving an example of what is of being larger. And then if people follow and they do it for themselves, they go. So when people come into programs, they go, look, you're responsible for controlling your energy in this program. If you find yourself, nodding off or wake yourself up, have fun, enjoy yourself, bring yourself to the present, live. You paid thousands of dollars to fly from around the world to come here to be in this program with me. Make every moment count and have fun and delight and enthusiasm. And guess what? You'll train yourself. And so during those programs, they learned the habit of awareness and the ability to transform themselves from a less than glorious state to a glorious state.
Wow. I don't even know where to go from this, Rex. It's too much.
Look at my wrap up.
Wherever you like.
Where should we go?
Where should I? Well, but what am I going to do about this now?
Okay, how about a book question? What do you wish you'd done differently regarding your book? Is there anything?
This one?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I would have gone to a publisher.
Okay.
Honestly, I self-published this book, and it's good that way. But, I'm very proud of the book. I'm really thrilled with the book. So, other than maybe starting sooner or putting it together years before I did it, I think maybe, giving it a more magnificent launch. I just kind of put it out and said, here it is.
Yeah.
Let people find it, and stuff like that, as opposed to doing a big promo on it.
Okay.
And I also would encourage people to buy 10, 20, 30, 100 copies to give away. Right.
Yep.
To share with their family and friends, but also libraries and hospitals, and donate and things like that.
I like the hospital thing, because
I love that.
I like that.
Yeah, wherever people have books. Even people have these like corner book things now. I drive past them all the time. I should go take and put my book in all of them. I don't have that many books I don't carry. I don't inventory the books.
Yeah, you talked about book. We talked before we got started today about the finances of books and stuff like that. And I give away more books than I actually sell, just because I want them in people's hands. And I think, what are some of the myths about writing a book or being an author?
Well, no, it's really true. I posted on my Facebook wall the other day this kind of meme. I don't know even where it came from. They go, everybody thinks that, authors are rich. Mm-hmm. And the truth is that the authors of today rely on the reviews that they get from people like you who are reading this meme, kind of thing, to give it a good review, or give it a review on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or Google Read or wherever they can do it. But those reviews make it the more that people rate and review a book, the more attention, for example, Amazon will give it, and if they don't review it, then Amazon tends to hide things anyway. I mean, if you follow what's been going on with how difficult it is for small businesses to compete on Amazon, authors are just one of those small businesses that have a lot of. I mean, if there's 100 million books, it's very difficult to get your books in. So it requires a team, I think, more than anything else, or somebody who's dedicated to working a book, more than I am. I mean, like like you both.
Yeah. I mean, Kellen is, she's that person you find on that after you hit publish, Yeah,
right. No, exactly.
No, I love it. I think the other thing, the holidays are coming up, and I love, we're like, go out rexsikes.com and /book, and I love Rex's take when we were talking before, not buy one book, buy 10 of them.
Buy 100.
Buy 100 of them. He's like,
I'll be real candid. I was in a clubhouse room a year or two ago, and they were promoting a guy who's fairly well known anyway. I mean, he's already had some bestsellers. So they said, well, let's make this one a bestseller. And somebody said, okay, well, I'll buy 50 books, and somebody said, well, I'll buy 100. And then somebody said, well, I'll buy 500. And, now by the time the hour was over, if they did what they had said, they would have sold something like $250,000 worth of books.
Wow.
But if they only did half of that, if they only did a fraction of that, they were not, I mean, they might have been helping the authors somewhat financially, but they were getting books in the hands of people.
Right.
Companies can buy books for their workers and their employees and give them as gifts. It's a no-brainer if you say I am the first person to say, living life on your own terms doesn't mean that you quit your job necessarily. You can be in your job and have a wonderful time. Mm-hmm. So, it's not, I'm not encouraging anybody to become a life coach or an entrepreneur or a solopreneur or, it's just however you want to live your life. Not everybody wants a mansion. Some people want a little hut. I'm getting to the point where I want a tiny home. Mm-hmm. I want one of these little tiny homes in the middle of nowhere. I knew a multi-millionaire had 100-acre lot, and he had a big, huge mansion on it, tore it down, built 2 900-square-foot homes. One's his office, one's for him and his wife, or he and his wife. I'm like, not everybody wants the same things. Not everybody wants to be a millionaire. Some people want to be. Excuse my beloved girl Sasha, who's saying hi to somebody walking by with a dog.
Hi, Sasha. Hi, Sasha. Dogs are welcome on our show.
Oh yeah,
you can.
It's really cool. What always amazes me about dogs is they understand trajectory. They see somebody going this way, and they run to go at the other window to see it there. That's what she just did. She just ran past it. So anyway, the point is that not everybody wants $1 million. Some people are happy with less. Not everybody wants a Porsche. Somebody wants a different kind of car. Somebody wants to be a music teacher or a cook. Not everybody wants to be in business for themselves, and it's all good. It's all very good.
Yeah, if my dogs were here, they would be barking back at your dog.
Nice. Yeah, sometimes I sit here and people see me doing this, and it's because I'm petting my dogs. They don't know that.
It's probably good that you explained that, Rex.
Yeah, I feel like that the other night on Lynn's show. I was like doing this thing. I'm like, what the heck is he doing? But yeah, you don't, and there's a huge myth out there that and this is a huge one that I'll mention is so many current day thought leaders have it absolutely wrong. We talked about it a little bit before. They say in order to have these things, you have to work extra hard. You have to risk. You have to sacrifice. You have to struggle. You have to know that there's hardship. You have to put in long hours and all this kind of stuff. And then you'll be successful, and then you'll be somebody to reckon with. worth is calculated by dollars in the United States, not by integrity, not by honesty, not by whether you're a good family person, not whether you have compassion or generosity or peaceful or any of that stuff. It's all, well, that person has money, so they are successful. Well, there are plenty of people with money who are total assholes, and there are plenty of people with money who are totally beautiful people. It's not the money, it's the person that makes the difference. And so you don't have to sacrifice anything. In fact, if you do sacrifice anything, you're missing the point. The journey is important. If you're doing what you love, you're not sacrificing anything. That was Muhammad Ali's point back on how do you get motivated. If you're doing what you want to be doing and you're loving it, it's no work at all. Yes, you may work 17 hours a day or do it for 17 hours a day, but it's because you want to. It's your passion, it's your love, it's your enthusiasm for it. So when they tell you have to power through things, that's only if it's something you don't want to do. And they'll convince you that you should do it. You should do this and you should do that and you should be this and you should be that, to have this and have that and all that kind of stuff. Life is too short to spend your life. I mean, there's so many people who get to the end of their life and go, I should have spent more time with my kids and my family, with my loved ones. They didn't go, I should have made another movie. I should have written another book. I should have worked another day in the office. I should have sold another Porsche, So don't regret anything. Live life fully.
Fantastic.
That's it.
So Rex, we're going to send people over to rexsikes.com/the book, and we're going to make you a bestseller this afternoon.
Hey, I love it. And that's great. I should get a screenshot of that now.
Yeah. All right.
You're ready when you're ready.
And this is how my computer works. It goes bookmark added. I'm like, I'm not adding a bookmark. I'm taking a screenshot. I think I got one. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, and if they go to rexsikes.com/book, here's an offer I have. If they go to Amazon and they buy the book from Amazon and they go and rate the review and whatever, take the receipt code that you get from Amazon and come back to rexsikes.com/book. I will gift you a bonus online training on mastery, on how to master your thoughts, your emotions, your speech, and your behaviors, because those are the things that determine your results, or any skill or talent that you want to do. If you're going to be a juggler and you really love juggling, you get better at juggling faster than if you hate juggling but have to do it. Right. So I teach you how to master things. It's called the Mastery Loop. It's a $497 value online training that I give as a bonus. So if you buy the book, order the soft cover or the hard cover, and you have it shipped to you, you take your receipt code, you'll get the training before you even get the book.
Nice.
Wow.
That's a great deal, everybody.
So it is. I mean, you buy a book for $20 and you get, $500 of training.
Oh, that's awesome. That is.
I get $500 of training.
Yeah, and if you haven't claimed yours yet, you should go claim it.
Yep, absolutely. Head out, everybody.
Awesome. Well, Rex, thank you so much. I was just thinking, I met you on Clubhouse, didn't I?
Could be.
I think that's where I met you originally.
So
thank you so much for your time and your expertise and our free therapy. And
yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity. And you guys are great hosts. You're doing a valuable service. I've had a wonderful time with you. You made it very, very comfortable, very easy, very, very delightful to be with. You've asked great questions and we've had a good time. And I can't thank you enough. So thank you. And as however people celebrate the holidays, past, present, and those coming in the future, because there's something like 17 holidays at the end of the year here or something like that. So however you celebrate. And now if I've just, time coded this as a particular time of the year, it goes on forever and ever.
It does. Does this work here? I don't think I have the update.
Somebody can tell me how to do this, but it doesn't. I don't know how it doesn't work.
I got mine.
It worked. It worked.
It worked.
I got it that time.
Thanks, Rex. We'll see you in the green room.
Sounds good. See you soon, Rex.
Bye, everybody. Love you all.
Wow.
At least 10K.
I know. We're gonna have to schedule an entire show to debrief this one.
Yeah, I know. I usually take your things. Do you want to go first or do you want me to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to go first today. So one of my takeaways from Rex is, he says, first off, I want to say this. We didn't talk a ton about writing a book, but just if you want to write a book, use Rex's mindset about life and apply it to writing a book. That would be the first thing I would say. The second thing is, when he talked about his blog for 10 years, 14 years, whatever, we touched on that a little bit. there's two sides of that. You want to write a book and you don't write a blog, start writing a blog, because if you want to be a writer, be a writer. So you got to write daily, you got to write often, and that will give you the content. And if you're like, I want to write a book, but you've been writing for 10 years, go back and look at some of that content.
I have a book.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there. Now, what I thought was interesting is, I would have assumed, most people who are in coaching, training, things like that, it's like an automatic that they want to have a book. And and it's not even necessarily a takeaway. I just thought it was intriguing. It was just a totally different view.
That he fought it.
Yeah, that he didn't want one. That's the first I've heard anybody say, I'm going to wait to do a book. So, that's how unique a guest we had today. So
I know, he was amazing. I love him.
I'm not going to take them all away. I mean, Kellen normally takes all 10 items and then says, Brian, what do you got?
And he's like,
but I'm going to be nice to Kellen. I'm going to let her have a couple. So.
I'm just going to do a couple. I mean, I literally wrote the whole time. It's just literally thrive, not survive. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I'm going to go back to the blog. I mean, not even just having a book in you, it's the dedication. Because you've done that with your LinkedIn. I do that with my Gratitude Monday. I've been doing it over 20 years. For 20 years, I've been writing a thank you note or a card to somebody on Monday. So I think that has a lot to do with your mindset, and a lot of authors have that same discipline. So I think that's so important. Yeah. Oh wait, one more thing. The act 2 times more enthused, act 5 times more. I'm going to use that 10 times more enthused. I'm totally going to use that in life. Like I'm pretty 10 times anyway, but I think when I'm going to use it when I'm like scaled down and I don't want to be scaled down. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm excited. I'm so grateful he was here today.
I know. I mean, I feel just 10 times more enthused just having him on here today. So it's good stuff.
So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all our new viewers. Please come back. We're here every Saturday, 10:10. Although next week we're going to do a best of, I think, right?
Yeah, we're just going to do. We're going to gather up some snippets. We'll play back some little snippets and talk about the 16 episodes we've done, which and we very much lived what we just talked about. We just got started. We took off and ran with it and said, we're going to do this. And, it's gotten better every week. So
it really has. And our guests, I mean, we've been blessed with amazing guests. Next year is no, what's that word? Exception. I mean, I've got some great authors planned for us for next year. So
yeah, we're going to, Kellen and I are getting back over the holidays. We're going to kind of like reconvene, look at the past 16 weeks, and we're going to bring you something better in 2024. So we're super excited. This has been just such a great experience meeting these wonderful people. I just had no clue that this has been so rewarding.
I know. It's been rewarding for us. I mean, and if you think of somebody that might be interesting to our viewers, drop us a line, let us know. Don't forget to subscribe.
And next year we are going to do a little bit where we are going to add in some people that are maybe supporting people writing a book. Yeah. Maybe they haven't written a book. Maybe they're an editor, they're an illustrator, some of the components of the book. And that's one of the things we've really learned through all of this is all the different people that support getting a book done. So we're going to try to bring some of that into the mix next year as well. So got some good ideas.
To the puzzle. So many pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to next year. I mean, just could not believe how fun this was.
I know. And we actually coordinated today.
We did not plan our gray sweatshirts. It took us 16 weeks to get on the same outfit, and we did it finally.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week with our recap, the best of, and we'll also see you next year.
Sounds great. Thanks everybody.